We love to imagine history as a parade of giants, geniuses who woke up one morning with a brilliant idea and changed the world. We celebrate that single moment of breakthrough: Newton's apple, Franklin's kite, the first flight at Kitty Hawk. But the true story of innovation is rarely so simple. It's a tangled web of accidents, forgotten experiments, and strange obsessions. Real revolution is often the result of an alchemy of ideas, the process where a tiny, insignificant observation, something that looked like a mistake, suddenly turns into gold. This is the story of how our world was rebuilt, not by grand plans, but by the twitch of a frog's leg, a piece of moldy bread, and a melted candy bar. Back in the late 18th century, electricity was just a parlor trick, something to shock party guests. It had no real use. Then came Luigi Galvani, an Italian physician who wasn't trying to change the world. He was just dissecting frogs. One day in 1780, his assistant touched a scalpel to a dead frog's nerve just as a nearby static machine sparked. The dead frog's leg kicked. Galvani was obsessed. He thought he'd discovered animal electricity, the very life force. He was wrong, but his obsession started a rivalry with another scientist, Alessandro Volta. Volta believed the twitch came from a chemical reaction between the metals and the frog's salty fluids. To prove Galvani wrong, Volta started stacking discs of zinc and copper, separated by brine-soaked cloth. He wasn't trying to power a city. He was just trying to win a scientific argument. The result was the voltaic pile, the world's first battery. Because a doctor noticed the dead frog twitch, we got stored energy. That twitch eventually led to the telegraph, the light bulb, the phone in your pocket, and the electric cars on our highways. The digital age began in a bowl of frog anatomy. Now, let's jump to France. In 1801, Joseph Marie, a weaver, was tired of the slow, manual labor required to create complex patterns in silk. He invented a device that used stiff cards with holes punched in them. It was a simple binary system. If a rod found a hole, it passed through and lifted a thread. No hole, the thread stayed down. Jacquard's invention was for fashion, not math. But in England, a mathematician named Charles Babbage and his collaborator, the brilliant Ada Lovelace, saw the loom and had a revelation. Lovelace wrote that their analytical engine weaves algebraic patterns, just as the Jacquard loom weaves flowers and leaves. They realized the punch card could control information, not just thread. Decades later, an American named Herman Hollerith used this exact idea to tabulate the 1890 U.S. Census. His company eventually became International Business Machines, or IBM. The computer you're using right now exists because a French weaver got tired of lifting silk threads by hand. The logic of the loom became the logic of the microchip. Perhaps the most famous accident in history happened in London in 1928. Alexander Fleming was a brilliant but messy bacteriologist. He went on vacation, leaving a stack of petri dishes with staph bacteria near an open window. When he got back, he noticed something odd. A patch of blue-green mold had floated in and contaminated one dish, but around the mold, all the dangerous bacteria had been killed, leaving a clean halo. A tidier scientist might have thrown it away. Fleming paused and said, "That's funny." That funny observation was the discovery of penicillin. It wasn't an instant revolution. For a decade, it was just a scientific curiosity. But with the pressure of World War II, a team at Oxford figured out how to mass-produce it. By D-Day in 1944, factories were churning out penicillin, saving countless lives. Before this, a simple scratch could be a death sentence. Human life expectancy soared. All because a scientist didn't clean up before his holiday. It was 1945. Percy Spencer, an engineer at Raytheon, was working on magnetrons, the tubes that generated microwaves for military radar systems. While standing in front of an active radar set, he felt his pocket and found that his peanut candy bar had completely melted. Spencer was curious. He sent a boy to get a bag of popcorn kernels. When he placed them in front of the magnetron, they exploded into popcorn all over the lab. Next, he tried an egg, which exploded in a colleague's face. He had discovered a new way to cook. Raytheon patented the technology, and the first microwave oven, the Radarange, was born. It was 6 feet tall, weighed 750 pounds, and was a commercial flop. But the seed was planted. Over time, the technology shrank. The side effect of a weapon of war became a staple in every kitchen. The device meant to track enemy bombers was now used to heat our leftovers, a domestic revolution born from a sticky pocket. Finally, in 1964, two radio astronomers, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, were using a huge antenna at Bell Labs to map signals from the Milky Way. But they had a problem. A persistent, low-level hiss, no matter where they pointed the antenna. They checked the wiring. They even climbed inside and scrubbed out what they politely called white dielectric material. Pigeon droppings. They thought the bird poop was causing the interference. But even after cleaning it all out, the noise remained. They were frustrated, thinking their experiment had failed. Meanwhile, just an hour's drive away at Princeton University, physicists were theorizing about the Big Bang. They predicted that if the universe began with a massive explosion, a faint heat signature, a cosmic background radiation, should still be detectable. Penzias and Wilson, without knowing it, were listening to the echo of the creation of the universe. When the Princeton team heard about their noise, they knew they'd been scooped. Penzias and Wilson won the Nobel Prize for shifting our entire understanding of cosmic origins. All because they couldn't get rid of an annoying hiss they thought was just bird poop. Looking back at these stories, a clear pattern emerges. The greatest revolutions are hiding in plain sight. They are in the rejected data, the software glitches, the strange anomalies. Innovation requires two things: the accident and the mind prepared to notice it. The world changes not when we find what we are looking for, but when we have the courage to stop and ask, wait a minute, why did that happen? The next breakthrough is out there, waiting for someone to notice. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey through history's happy accidents, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.